Debbie, turn right. Look at the big tree. Debbie froze like the whole cemetery had suddenly stopped breathing. Her fingers were still tight on the cold tombstone. Her cheeks were wet. Her throat burned from crying too much. And yet that voice, clear, calm, and close, cut through the quiet like a knife. Debbie's head lifted slowly. Her eyes moved inch by inch toward the big tree behind the graves. And that was when her heart almost jumped out of her chest. A man was standing there, hiding. Tall, dark-skinned, wearing an expensive navy blue caftan. A red cap, his face half covered by the tree trunk like he was scared of being seen. Debbie's mouth opened, but no sound came out. Because the face was a face she knew too well. It was the face she had kissed goodbye forever. It was the face she had cried for every day for one whole month. It was the face carved into her mind like a picture that could never fade. Nathaniel Bassey, her dead husband. Debbie's legs shook. Her breath came in small, sharp pieces. "No," she whispered, barely able to hear her own voice. "No, no, no." She stared so hard her eyes hurt. Nathaniel raised one hand slowly, like he was begging her not to scream. "Debbie," he called again, softer now. "Come. Come quickly." Debbie's body refused to move. Her mind screamed one thing, ghost. Because she was sure that Nathaniel had been buried. She had stood there as the casket went into the ground. She had watched the sand cover it. She had heard the prayers. She had fainted and been carried away. So how could he be standing here? Her lips trembled. She wanted to run, she wanted to shout, but fear pinned her to the spot. Then Debbie remembered what her grandmother had always told her as a child. If you ever see a ghost, pick sand and throw it. If it is a ghost, it will vanish. Debbie swallowed hard. Her hands moved slowly down to the ground, trembling. She bent and scooped a small handful of sand from beside the grave. Her eyes never left the man behind the tree. Nathaniel's eyes were wide too, like he was scared of something bigger than her fear. Debbie raised her hand and threw the sand at him. The sand hit his chest and shoulders. Debbie squeezed her eyes shut, waiting for him to disappear. 1 second, 2 seconds, 3. Nothing happened. Debbie opened her eyes slowly. Nathaniel was still there, still breathing, still standing, still looking at her like he had been waiting for her to believe. Debbie's knees went weak. A sob burst out of her. "Nathaniel," she cried, like saying his name could break her heart all over again. How are you?" Nathaniel stepped out from behind the tree, still careful, still watching around. "Debbie, please," he said, his voice shaking. "No time. Come now." Debbie's feet finally moved, but she moved like someone walking in a dream. Step, step, step. Every step felt wrong, like she was walking into something she could not understand. When she got closer, she saw it clearly. This was not a spirit. His skin had life, his eyes had tears, his hands were warm, and yet Debbie's whole world was breaking and rebuilding at the same time. "Nathaniel," she sobbed again, "this is not our agreement. How can you leave me alone? 1 month? 1 month I have been dying. I held your tombstone every day. I begged you. Nathaniel suddenly grabbed her wrist and pulled her close behind the tree. "Shh," he warned. Before Debbie could even speak, Nathaniel clamped his palm gently but firmly over her mouth. Debbie's eyes widened in shock. Nathaniel leaned close to her ear, his breath shaking. "Don't scream," he whispered. "Please, people are watching. People are looking for me." Debbie blinked fast. Looking for him? But he was supposed to be dead. Nathaniel's voice dropped even lower. "Debbie, I am not dead. I am alive," he said. His eyes shone with pain. "But I needed to do this, to save myself, and to save you." Debbie's mind spun. Save her? From what? From who? Nathaniel's eyes darted around the cemetery. The wind moved the grass softly. Far away she could hear a goat bleating from a nearby compound. But Nathaniel looked like a man standing inside a storm that only he could see. He removed his hand from her mouth, but his fingers stayed on her shoulder like he was afraid she would fall. Debbie whispered, You were buried." Nathaniel swallowed hard. "Debbie, please, trust me." Debbie's tears kept falling, but now they were mixed with confusion and fear. Nathaniel held her hand tightly. "Follow me," he said. They moved carefully through the cemetery, not running but not walking normally either. Like two people trying to act calm while their hearts were racing. Debbie looked at the grave one last time. The tombstone still stood there, in memory of Nathaniel Bassey. Her stomach turned. She had been crying on a lie, or a plan, or a trap. As they walked farther, the cemetery grew quieter. The graves looked endless. The trees looked taller, shadows stretched longer. Then Debbie saw it, a tinted black SUV parked at the lonely side road where nobody else was. The engine was already on. A driver sat inside, hands on the wheel, head facing forward like a statue. Nathaniel squeezed Debbie's hand. "Get in," he said quickly. Debbie hesitated, because everything about this felt like danger. Nathaniel leaned close again. "Debbie, please," he begged, voice breaking. "If you love me, just get in." Debbie's body moved before her mind could argue. Nathaniel opened the back door and pulled her inside. The car smelled like leather and strong air freshener. Debbie's heart was pounding so loud she thought the driver could hear it. Nathaniel jumped in beside her and slammed the door. He spoke to the driver in a sharp, urgent voice. "Go. Now." The SUV sped off immediately, tires crunching gravel. Debbie's head jerked back from the sudden movement. She grabbed the seat. Her eyes flew to the back window. The cemetery gate was getting smaller, 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 until it disappeared behind trees. Debbie turned to Nathaniel with shaking lips. "Nathaniel, come, what is going on?" she whispered. "Why are you hiding like a thief? Who is looking for you?" Nathaniel's jaw tightened. His eyes became dark, not with anger at her, but with fear of something outside the car. He leaned closer and said the name in a voice that sounded like poison. "Benson." Debbie frowned. "Your Uncle Benson?" she asked. Nathaniel nodded slowly. Debbie's breath caught, because Uncle Benson had been the loudest one crying at Nathaniel's funeral. Uncle Benson had held her and said, "My daughter, be strong." Uncle Benson had even promised to protect her. Debbie's voice shook. "Benson did something?" Nathaniel's eyes filled with tears again. "Debbie," he whispered, "Benson did not just do something. He tried to end my life." Debbie covered her mouth with her hand, eyes wide. "No," she whispered. "No, that can't be true." Nathaniel's hand gripped hers tightly. "Listen to me," he said, voice urgent. "From this moment, trust nobody, not even people you think are family." Debbie felt cold all over. The SUV kept speeding through the outskirts of town. Her mind raced with one terrifying thought. If Benson tried to kill Nathaniel, and Debbie has been visiting the grave every day, then what if Benson has been watching her too? Debbie turned to the window again, fear rising like fire, and in the tinted glass, she could barely see her own reflection, eyes wide, mouth trembling, like a woman who just discovered that the world she knew was fake. Then Nathaniel leaned close and whispered the words that made Debbie's blood run cold. "Debbie, we are not safe yet." And at that same moment, the driver's phone buzzed on the dashboard. The driver glanced at it, then looked in the mirror with sudden alarm. Nathaniel's head snapped up. "What is it?" he demanded. The driver's voice came out tense and low. "Sir, I think we are being followed." Debbie's heart dropped. She spun around to look through the back window, and far behind them, on the same road, was a dark vehicle keeping the exact same distance. Debbie's mouth opened, but no sound came. Nathaniel's eyes hardened. He pulled Debbie closer, like he was shielding her with his own body. And Debbie realized something terrifying. Seeing her dead husband was only the beginning. Because whoever wanted Nathaniel gone might now want Debbie gone too. The dark SUV behind them refused to slow down. Debbie pressed her forehead against the window, her heart beating so fast it hurt. The road ahead stretched long and empty, lined with tall bushes and broken streetlights. Every time the driver changed lanes, the car behind them did the same. "They're still there," Debbie whispered. Nathaniel leaned forward, his voice low but firm. "Don't panic." But his eyes said something else. "Drive faster," Nathaniel ordered. The driver nodded and pressed harder on the pedal. The engine roared. The SUV shot forward like it was running from death itself. Debbie held the seat tightly. Her thoughts were tangled. 1 month ago, she had worn black clothes. She had cried until she fainted. She had watched people lower a casket into the ground. And now she was running for her life with a man who was supposed to be dead. "Who is following us?" Debbie asked, her voice shaking. Nathaniel exhaled slowly. "I don't know for sure," he said, "but if Benson already suspects I am alive, he will not stop." Debbie's stomach twisted. "How could your uncle do this?" she asked. "You built him a house. You took him like a father." Nathaniel's eyes filled with pain. "That is what hurts the most," he said quietly. "Greed can turn blood into poison." The driver suddenly swerved sharply. Debbie screamed as the SUV took a rough turn into a smaller road. "Hold tight," the driver shouted. The car behind them overshot the turn and sped past. For a moment, there was silence. Then the driver laughed in relief. "We lost them." Debbie's body sagged against the seat. She was shaking. Nathaniel wrapped his arm around her, pulling her close. Debbie rested her head against his chest, listening to his heartbeat. It was real. He was alive. Tears ran down her face again, but this time they were different. Confused, angry, relieved, and scared all at once. After about 30 minutes, the SUV slowed down and turned into a quiet compound at the edge of town. A small hotel stood there, old but clean, hidden by tall trees. The driver parked behind the building. "Stay here," Nathaniel told him. "Don't talk to anyone." The driver nodded. Nathaniel held Debbie's hand and led her inside. The hotel lobby was empty. A tired-looking receptionist barely looked up as they passed. Inside the room, Nathaniel locked the door and pulled the curtains shut. Debbie sat on the bed slowly, like her body had finally remembered it was tired. Nathaniel stood for a moment, staring at her, his eyes full of regret. "I am sorry," he said, "for the pain, for the tears, for everything." Debbie looked up at him, tears shining. "You let me mourn you," she said softly. "You let me beg your grave." Nathaniel knelt in front of her. "I had no choice," he said. "If I contacted you, they would have followed you. They were watching everything around me." Debbie wiped her face. "Tell me the truth," she said. "All of it." Nathaniel took a deep breath. "1 month ago," he began, "I was attacked on my way back from a meeting. 3 men stopped my car. They were armed." Debbie's fingers dug into the bedsheet. "One of them," Nathaniel continued, "was my old high school mate. We recognized each other. When he heard my name, he hesitated." Nathaniel's voice broke. "He told the others to wait. He asked me if I wanted to live." Debbie gasped. "I begged him," Nathaniel said. "I told him about you. I told him about my company. I promised to pay him more than Benson promised." Debbie froze. "Benson sent them?" Nathaniel nodded slowly. "Yes," he said. "My uncle hired them. He wanted me dead." Debbie covered her mouth in shock. "The attackers agreed to help me fake my death," Nathaniel went on. "They took me to the mortuary instead of killing me. We arranged with an attendant there. That night I escaped." Debbie shook her head slowly. "So, the casket was empty," Nathaniel said. "I was never inside." Debbie's chest felt tight. "All this because of money?" she asked. Nathaniel's eyes burned. "Because I told him to wait," he said. "He asked for a new car. I said I needed time. That was all." Debbie stared at the wall, tears sliding down again. "He raised me after my father died," Nathaniel said, his voice cracking. "I trusted him. I treated him like a king." Silence filled the room. Then Debbie whispered, "What happens now?" Nathaniel straightened. "Now," he said, "we fight back." Debbie looked at him, scared. "How?" "The attackers are ready to testify," Nathaniel said. "They have recordings, messages, proof." Debbie swallowed. "And Benson?" Nathaniel's jaw tightened. "He will pay for what he did." Just then, Nathaniel's phone buzzed. He checked it and nodded slowly. "It's time," he said. That same night, police vehicles surrounded Benson's mansion. Lights flashed, sirens screamed. Benson came out in his nightclothes, shouting that it was a mistake. He was arrested and taken away. The next morning, the courtroom was full. Benson stood proudly at first, denying everything. Then the doors opened. Nathaniel walked in. Benson's face went pale. "No," Benson screamed. "You are dead. You are a dead man." The judge slammed her gavel. "Order." Nathaniel sat calmly. Then the attackers entered. Benson's knees gave way. Recordings were played, messages were shown, money transfers appeared on the screen. Benson broke down crying. Justice Sophia sentenced him to life imprisonment. Debbie and Nathaniel held each other, tears falling. Justice had been served, but as they walked out of the courtroom, Nathaniel suddenly stopped. His phone buzzed again, his face changed. Debbie looked at him. "What is it?" Nathaniel's voice dropped. "Debbie, Benson didn't act alone." Debbie's heart skipped. "What do you mean?" Nathaniel looked around the hallway, his eyes sharp. "There is someone else," he said. "Someone we have not seen yet." And at that moment, Debbie felt it again. That cold feeling. Like eyes were watching her. She slowly turned her head and locked eyes with a familiar face standing at the end of the hallway. Her breath caught, because the person smiled. Debbie's heart slammed hard against her chest. The smile at the end of the hallway was calm, too calm. The woman stood beside a pillar, dressed neatly, holding a handbag close to her body. Her hair was well packed. Her face looked peaceful, like she was watching a movie, not a court drama that had just ended in life imprisonment. Debbie whispered, "Nathaniel, do you know her?" Nathaniel followed Debbie's eyes. The moment he saw the woman, his shoulders stiffened. "Yes," he said slowly. "I know her." Debbie's throat felt dry. "Who is she?" Nathaniel did not answer immediately. His jaw tightened. "That," he said at last, "is Benson's lawyer." Debbie's stomach dropped. "But the case is over," Debbie whispered. "Benson has been sentenced." Nathaniel's eyes stayed locked on the woman. "Yes," he said, "but look at her face." Debbie looked again. The woman was not shocked. She was not angry. She was not confused. She was smiling. Then slowly, the woman lifted her phone and took a picture. A picture of Nathaniel. A picture of Debbie. And then she turned and walked away. Debbie's knees felt weak. "She just took our picture," Debbie said. Nathaniel nodded. "That means one thing." "What?" Debbie asked. "This is not finished." That night, Debbie could not sleep. They were back in their home, but it no longer felt safe. Every sound made her jump. Every shadow looked like a threat. Nathaniel sat on the bed, staring at his phone. "You should rest," Debbie said softly. Nathaniel shook his head. "I can't," he replied. "Not yet." Debbie hugged a pillow tightly. "I still don't understand," she said. "Benson is in prison. The attackers confessed. The judge sentenced him. What more is there?" Nathaniel looked at her, his eyes full of worry. "Benson was greedy," he said, "but Benson was not smart enough to plan everything alone." Debbie sat up. "Are you saying someone helped him?" Nathaniel nodded. "Someone powerful," he said. "Someone who knows the system." Debbie remembered the woman's smile. Cold fear crept into her chest. 2 days later, the news broke. Benson's appeal had been filed. Debbie read the headline again and again. "But how?" she asked. "How can he appeal so fast?" Nathaniel slammed the newspaper down. "That woman," he said. "She is working already." Debbie felt tears sting her eyes. "I thought it was over," she whispered. Nathaniel pulled her into his arms. "I promise to protect you," he said, "and I will." But even as he said it, his phone rang. He checked the number. Unknown. Nathaniel hesitated, then answered. "Hello?" There was a pause. Then a woman's voice spoke calmly. "Good evening, Mr. Nathaniel Bassi." Nathaniel's eyes narrowed. "Who is this?" The voice laughed softly. "You saw me today," the woman said, "in court." Debbie's breath caught. Nathaniel stood up slowly. "Why are you calling me?" The woman's voice remained smooth. "To congratulate you," she said. "You played the dead man very well." Nathaniel's grip tightened on the phone. "And to warn you," she added. "Warn me about what?" Nathaniel asked. The woman paused. "About how dangerous it is," she said, "to dig deeper than you should." Debbie shook her head, fear flooding her. Nathaniel said firmly, "Benson tried to kill me. He is paying for it." The woman sighed. "Benson was careless," she said, "and now he is paying the price." Debbie's heart pounded. "Are you threatening us?" Nathaniel asked. The woman chuckled. "No," she said. "I am advising you." Nathaniel's voice rose. "Advise me how?" There was silence for a moment. Then the woman spoke again, slower now. "Stop looking into Benson's past," she said. "Stop asking questions." Stop pushing. Nathaniel laughed bitterly. Or what? The woman's voice dropped. Or the next grave you visit, she said softly, will not be empty. The call ended. Debbie screamed. Nathaniel stared at the phone, his face pale. Debbie grabbed his arm. She threatened us, she cried. Nathaniel, she threatened us. Nathaniel pulled Debbie close, holding her tightly. I won't let anyone touch you, he said, but deep inside, fear had already begun to grow. The next morning, Debbie went to the kitchen. She froze. On the table lay a single white envelope, no name, no stamp. Her hands shook as she opened it. Inside was a photograph of Debbie, sitting at Nathaniel's grave, crying. The date was written below. Yesterday. Debbie screamed and dropped the photo. Nathaniel rushed in. What is it? He asked. Debbie pointed with shaking fingers. They were watching me, she said, even at the grave. Nathaniel's eyes darkened. This means one thing, he said quietly. They know everything. Debbie burst into tears. Why can't they just leave us alone? She cried. Nathaniel picked up the photo slowly. They won't, he said. Not yet. He turned to Debbie, his voice firm but filled with fear. Debbie, from today, we trust nobody. Before Debbie could reply, the doorbell rang. Once, twice, 3 times. Nathaniel and Debbie stared at each other. Nathaniel walked slowly toward the door. Who is it? He asked. A calm voice answered from outside. Police. Nathaniel's hand froze on the door handle. Debbie's heart stopped, because something about the voice did not sound right at all. Police. The word hung in the air like smoke. Nathaniel's hand stayed frozen on the door handle. Debbie stood behind him, her whole body stiff, her heart beating so loud she was sure the person outside could hear it. Nathaniel leaned closer to the door and spoke carefully. Which police station? He asked. There was a pause, too long. Then the voice answered, calm but rushed. Madam, sir, we are from the Central Division. Please open, it's urgent. Debbie shook her head slowly, tears already forming. Nathaniel. Something is wrong, she whispered. Nathaniel nodded slightly. He quietly picked up his phone and texted a number. Inspector Musa. Are you at my gate? They waited. The doorbell rang again. Harder this time. Nathaniel, the voice called, open this door now. Debbie covered her mouth. Nathaniel's phone buzzed. He checked the message. No, I am at the station. Do not open that door. Nathaniel's blood ran cold. He stepped back from the door slowly, signaling Debbie to move quietly. Suddenly, bang, bang, bang. The door shook violently. Open this door, the voice shouted, no longer calm. Debbie screamed. Nathaniel grabbed her hand and pulled her toward the back of the house. The banging grew louder. A crack appeared near the door handle. They're breaking in, Debbie cried. Nathaniel rushed her through the back door into the compound. A black SUV was already waiting there, the same one from before. The driver jumped out. Sir, hurry! Nathaniel pushed Debbie inside and jumped in after her. The engine roared to life just as the front door burst open. Debbie looked back through the rear window. 2 men rushed out of the house, not police, armed men. The SUV sped off, tires screeching. Debbie collapsed against Nathaniel, shaking. They were going to kill us, she sobbed. Nathaniel held her tightly. I know, he said, but not today. They drove straight to a secure apartment arranged by the police, quiet, guarded, hidden. That night, Debbie could not stop shaking. Nathaniel sat beside her, holding her hands. I am so sorry, he said. My past followed us home. Debbie looked at him with red, tired eyes. I almost lost you twice, she said, once to a grave, and now to bullets. Nathaniel swallowed hard. I won't run anymore, he said. If I keep hiding, they will keep coming. Debbie's eyes widened. What do you mean? Nathaniel stood up slowly. I am going to expose everything, he said, not just Benson, everyone behind him. Debbie grabbed his arm. Nathaniel, please, they are powerful. Nathaniel nodded. That is why I must act now. The next day, Nathaniel met secretly with the attackers who had testified in court. They looked nervous, sweaty, afraid. They are threatening our families, one of them said. We did our part. Please, help us. Nathaniel promised them protection, But as they left the safe house, one of the men suddenly stopped. "Sir," he said quietly, "there is something you should know." Nathaniel turned. "What is it?" The man lowered his voice. "Benson did not plan everything," he said. "There was a woman. She paid us part of the money herself." Nathaniel's chest tightened. "A woman?" he asked. The man nodded. "Yes. She said Benson was just the face. She was the brain." Nathaniel remembered the smile in the courtroom, the phone call, the threat, Debbie's photo at the grave. He clenched his fists. That same evening, Debbie received a call. Unknown number. Her hands shook as she answered. "Hello?" The familiar, calm voice replied. "Good evening, Debbie." Debbie's heart dropped. "You," she whispered. "You are the lawyer." The woman laughed softly. "You see," she said, "I told you to stop digging." Debbie's voice trembled. "What do you want from us?" The woman paused. "I want peace," she said, "and peace comes when people stay in their place." Debbie felt anger rise. "You tried to kill my husband," she said boldly. "You terrorized me." The woman's tone hardened. "Be careful," she warned. "You already lost him once." Debbie's breath caught. "What do you mean?" she asked. The woman replied slowly, each word sharp. "Accidents can happen again." The call ended. Debbie dropped the phone and burst into tears. Nathaniel rushed in. "What happened?" Debbie looked up at him, shaking. "She knows everything," Debbie cried. "She said you can die again." Nathaniel's face turned dark. "Then she has crossed the line," he said. Late that night, Inspector Musa called. "We have located her," he said, "but there is a problem." Nathaniel's heart raced. "What problem?" "She has diplomatic protection," the inspector said. "Arresting her will not be easy." Nathaniel closed his eyes. Debbie whispered, "So she can do whatever she wants." Inspector Musa sighed. "Unless we catch her red-handed." Nathaniel opened his eyes slowly. "Then we will," he said. Across town, in a luxurious mansion, the woman sat calmly sipping wine. A man entered and bowed slightly. "They escaped," he said. She smiled. "Good," she replied. "The game is more interesting when they run." She looked at a photo on her tablet. "Debbie." "Nathaniel." Her smile widened. "Prepare the final move," she said. Back at the safe apartment, Debbie lay awake beside Nathaniel. She held his hand tightly. "Nathaniel," she whispered, "promise me something." "What?" he asked softly. "If anything happens to you," she said, "I don't think I can survive it." Nathaniel kissed her forehead. "Nothing will happen to me," he said. "I promise." At that same moment, Nathaniel's phone buzzed. A message appeared. "Meet me alone. Midnight. Come if you want this to end." Attached was a live photo. Debbie's heart stopped, because the photo was taken inside their apartment, just seconds ago, and in the corner of the image was Debbie's face, as she slept. Nathaniel's blood ran cold, because whoever was hunting them was already inside their walls. Nathaniel stared at the phone like it was a ticking bomb. The message glowed in the dark room. "Meet me alone. Midnight. Come if you want this to end." Debbie sat up suddenly, her heart racing. "What is it?" she asked, her voice shaking. Nathaniel turned the phone toward her. Debbie's breath stopped. The photo on the screen was real. Too real. It was their apartment, their bed. And her face, asleep, taken only seconds ago. "She was here," Debbie whispered. "She was inside." Nathaniel's fists clenched. "No," he said quietly. "She still is." Before Debbie could speak again, the lights flickered once, twice, then steadied. Nathaniel stood. "I am ending this tonight." Debbie grabbed his arm. "No," she said, "come alone. That's a trap." Nathaniel knelt in front of her, holding her face gently. "Debbie, listen to me," he said. "I have already informed the police. Inspector Musa is watching everything. I am not walking into this blind." Debbie's tears fell freely. "I already lost you once," she cried. "I cannot lose you again." Nathaniel pulled her into his arms. "You won't," he said. "Not this time." Midnight came quietly, too quietly. Nathaniel walked into the abandoned warehouse by the river, his steps steady, his heart pounding. The place smelled of dust and oil. A single light bulb hung from the ceiling. Then clapping echoed slowly. "Well done, Nathaniel Bassey," a calm voice said. "You are braver than I thought." She stepped into the light. Benson's lawyer, elegant, smiling, unafraid. "So," Nathaniel said firmly, "you are the real brain." She laughed softly. Benson was greedy, easy to control. "I simply helped him move faster." Nathaniel raised his phone. "Everything you say is being recorded." She smiled wider. "Good." She snapped her fingers. 3 men stepped out of the shadows. Nathaniel's heart dropped. Then suddenly, "Police! Don't move!" Lights flooded the warehouse. Armed officers rushed in from every direction. The woman's smile disappeared for the first time. Inspector Musa stepped forward. "You are under arrest," he said. She laughed once, sharp and bitter. "You think this ends here?" she shouted. "Yes," Nathaniel said calmly. "It does." The trial shook the country. Evidence poured out like water. Phone calls, money transfers, hidden recordings. Witnesses, including the attackers. The woman's calm mask broke. She screamed, she cried, she denied. But it was too late. Justice Sophia stood firm. "For conspiracy, attempted murder and obstruction of justice," she ruled, "you are sentenced to life imprisonment." The courtroom went silent. Debbie burst into tears. Nathaniel held her tightly. Outside the court, cameras flashed. But for the first time, Debbie felt peace. Life in prison destroyed Benson. His wife sold everything: the mansion, the cars, the land. She left the country with their children. Benson sat alone on a thin mattress, crying, realizing how greed had ruined him. 2 years later, sunlight filled Debbie and Nathaniel's home. Debbie smiled down at the baby in her arms. A baby girl. "Lucy," Nathaniel whispered, kissing her forehead. Debbie's eyes filled with tears. "She is our miracle," she said. Nathaniel nodded. "Yes," he replied, "justice gave us life back." Debbie looked out the window, remembering the grave, the tree, the voice. What began in pain ended in truth, and as Lucy laughed softly in her arms, Debbie knew one thing: no lie is buried forever, and no evil escapes justice. If you like this story, comment, share, and subscribe to our channel for more interesting stories.